Most modern parents are obsessed with teaching their kids about money. Savings accounts, investment apps, chores for cash. It's all designed to create a financially literate next generation. But in the hushed corridors of multi-generational wealth, that entire approach is seen as putting the cart before the horse. For the families who have successfully kept their fortunes for 100 years or more, the first and most critical lessons have nothing to do with assets or portfolios. They teach their children manners. This isn't about creating polite heirs who simply know which fork to use. It's a calculated strategy. Here, we'll break down the 5 core reasons why old money dynasties prioritize etiquette and how this seemingly old-fashioned practice is the ultimate tool for protecting and growing wealth across generations. To the outside world, the customs of old money can seem archaic, even peculiar. While new money often shouts its arrival with loud logos and flashy consumption, old money whispers. That whisper is a language, and its grammar is etiquette. It's a code that governs everything from how you greet a stranger to how you hold a conversation, from how you write a thank you note to how you remain silent. Most people mistake this for a simple politeness, a charming relic of a bygone era. That's a profound misunderstanding. For dynastic families, manners aren't a soft skill. They are the primary technology for risk management and wealth preservation. Credentials might get you in the door, but it's character that keeps you in the room. And for these families, character is forged in the daily rituals of etiquette. Before a child of old money ever learns to read a stock ticker, they learn to read a room. Before they're taught about compound interest, they are taught the compounding value of a good reputation. This isn't by accident. It is a meticulously designed curriculum aimed at solving the single greatest threat to generational wealth, the erosion of character that leads to the erosion of capital. The old saying, "from shirt sleeves to shirt sleeves in 3 generations," haunts these families. It's a widely cited statistic that roughly 70% of wealthy families lose their fortune by the 2nd generation and 90% by the 3rd. The antidote, they believe, isn't a better financial advisor, it's a better raised heir. So, let's explore the 5 strategic pillars that explain why manners are taught long before money. We will see how etiquette functions as social armor, forges long-term thinking, protects privacy, builds invaluable social capital, and finally, how it protects the family's most important asset, its name. If you find this exploration into the psychology of wealth fascinating, consider subscribing for more insights into the world of quiet luxury and generational strategy. Section 1. The first pillar, manners as social armor. In the world of the ultra-wealthy, social circles aren't just for fun. They are ecosystems of power, influence, and opportunity. Getting in is hard, but navigating them successfully is even harder. For an heir, a social misstep doesn't just lead to embarrassment, it can sever crucial relationships, tarnish a family's reputation, and close doors to ventures worth millions. This is why the first lesson for an old money child is mastering manners, which function as a sophisticated form of social armor. This armor isn't made of steel, but from 1,000 tiny, practiced behaviors. It starts with the basics. Children are taught from an impossibly young age how to give a firm but not crushing handshake while making direct eye contact. They learn to introduce 2 strangers not just by name, but by offering a point of connection. The dinner table is the primary classroom where they master the language of a formal place setting before they're 10. Knowing the difference between a salad fork and a dinner fork is non-negotiable. Crucially, they are taught to treat service staff with the exact same courtesy as a head of state, because they understand a person's character is revealed not in how they treat their equals, but their subordinates. These aren't just arbitrary rules, they are a code, a shared social grammar that signals to others that you belong. When you meet someone trained in the same system, there's an immediate, unspoken recognition. You both know the rules. This creates a baseline of trust and predictability, and in these circles, being predictable is a virtue. It means you're safe, reliable, and you won't cause a scene or become a liability. Prestigious boarding schools like Eton in the UK or Phillips Exeter in the US have historically served as training grounds for this armor. Within these institutions, etiquette isn't a separate subject, but is embedded into the fabric of daily life. The culture is built on enforced humility and discipline. A shared experience of structure and responsibility creates a powerful bond. Decades later, discovering that a business acquaintance attended the same school can be a more powerful connection than any shared financial interest. It's a passport into an exclusive network, a signal that you've been vetted by the same rigorous system. This social armor also has a defensive function. The world of extreme wealth is filled with risks. Social climbers, fortune hunters, and those who would exploit a naive heir. Someone fluent in the subtleties of high-stakes social interaction is far better equipped to detect insincerity. They can read the cues that differentiate genuine interest from sycophantic flattery. They understand the art of the polite deflection, steering conversations away from intrusive questions about money. They know how to listen more than they speak, gathering information while revealing little. This isn't about being cold, it's about maintaining control. Think of it this way. While new money might arm their children with the latest gadgets, old money arms their children with an invisible shield. This armor of etiquette allows them to move through any boardroom or charity gala with quiet confidence, secure in the knowledge that they belong. They are taught that making others feel comfortable is the height of power, because someone who can control the social temperature of a room can subtly guide its outcomes. In this sense, manners are not just a defense, they are a quiet, formidable offense. Section 2. The second pillar. Discipline as the foundation for long-term thinking. One of the defining characteristics of old money is an obsession with the long term. They don't plan in fiscal quarters or even years, but in generations. They see themselves not as owners of wealth, but as stewards of a legacy. This mindset is key to preserving a fortune, but it doesn't come naturally. It requires immense discipline and the ability to delay gratification, and that's the second reason why manners are taught before money. The rigorous discipline of etiquette is the perfect training ground for the fiscal discipline that wealth preservation requires. Think about the daily rituals an old money child has to master. They learn to sit still through long, formal dinners and participate in adult conversation rather than being glued to a screen. They are required to write prompt, specific, and handwritten thank you notes for every gift, often within 48 hours. This simple act teaches follow-through, gratitude, and the importance of acknowledging social debts. They learn that punctuality is non-negotiable and that one doesn't raise one's voice or complain about trivial matters in public. Each rule may seem minor, but together they're a form of mental conditioning, exercises in impulse control. A child who learns to wait their turn to speak is practicing the same muscle of delayed gratification they'll need to. Section 2. The second pillar. Discipline as the foundation for long-term thinking. One of the defining characteristics of old money is an obsession with the long term. They don't plan in fiscal quarters or even years, but in generations. They see themselves not as owners of wealth, but as stewards of a legacy. This mindset is key to preserving a fortune, but it doesn't come naturally. It requires immense discipline and the ability to delay gratification, and that's the second reason why manners are taught before money. The rigorous discipline of etiquette is the perfect training ground for the fiscal discipline that wealth preservation requires. Think about the daily rituals an old money child has to master. They learn to sit still through long, formal dinners and participate in adult conversation rather than being glued to a screen. They are required to write prompt, specific, and handwritten thank you notes for every gift, often within 48 hours. This simple act teaches follow-through, gratitude, and the importance of acknowledging social debts. They learn that punctuality is non-negotiable and that one doesn't raise one's voice or complain about trivial matters in public. Each rule may seem minor, but together they're a form of mental conditioning, exercises in impulse control. A child who learns to wait their turn to speak is practicing the same muscle of delayed gratification they'll need to resist cashing in a long-term investment for a short-term thrill. A child who meticulously writes a thank you note is developing the same attention to detail needed to manage a trust. The relentless structure of their upbringing creates an internal understanding that life operates on order, not chaos. This stands in stark contrast to the instant gratification culture that defines so much of modern life. Old money parents have no problem saying no to a child's request, even if they could easily afford to say yes, because they know restraint is a lesson in itself. Entitlement, they understand, grows where boundaries don't exist. This discipline directly informs how they approach financial literacy later on. When money is finally introduced, it's not as a source of excitement, but as a responsibility governed by its own rules. The education is deliberately sequenced. A young child might get 3 jars for their allowance, one for spending, one for saving, and one for giving. A teenager might be asked to review the family's cell phone plan and argue for or against an upgrade, weighing cost versus benefit. Notice these lessons aren't about getting rich quick. They're about developing an internal compass for making deliberate, thoughtful choices. They are taught that capital is the movie, while cash is just a snapshot. The focus is on preserving and growing the family's core assets, with the understanding that the greatest miracle of finance, compound interest, only reveals its power over very long periods. By instilling the discipline of etiquette first, old money families ensure that by the time their children access significant wealth, they have already internalized the habits needed to manage it. Section 3. The third pillar. Discretion as a tool for privacy and protection. In an age of relentless self-documentation where every vacation and purchase is broadcast on social media, old money families operate under a radically different principle: discretion. Discretion isn't about secrecy, it's a strategic tool for protecting wealth, ensuring security, and maintaining control of the family narrative. The rules of etiquette are, at their core, a masterclass in the art of discretion. From a young age, old money children are taught a strict code. You don't talk about money. You don't ask people what they paid for things. You don't brag about a vacation or a successful investment. To do so is considered crude or vulgar, not just because it's boastful, but because it's a security risk. Announcing wealth makes you a target. Silence and understatement are armor. This extends to all aspects of family life. Children learn that what happens within the private sphere stays private. That's why you are unlikely to see the interior of a true old money home on Instagram. To post such a thing would be seen as a major breach of the family's security and privacy. They understand that mystery commands respect, and that a person who doesn't overshare controls their own story. The rules of etiquette provide the framework. Good manners dictate steering conversations away from controversial topics to prevent social ruptures. You learn not to complain, especially about staff, because it signals a lack of control. You learn to deflect intrusive questions with a polite, vague non-answer, a skill practiced until it becomes second nature. This culture of discretion enables stealth wealth. Many old money families live in a way their net worth would not suggest. They might drive reliable but modest cars, or wear unbranded clothing, prioritizing spending on education and experiences rather than flashy objects. This isn't because they're stingy, it's a calculated decision. Living below their means ensures capital is preserved and reinvested, allowing it to compound while keeping them off the radar. Philanthropy is also often practiced with discretion. While some may want their name on a building, old money families frequently donate anonymously or through quiet family foundations. That said, this isn't a universal rule. Prominent families like the Rockefellers and Carnegies have created very public, named institutions. The core idea, however, remains: giving is a duty, not a performance for public applause.
This training in discretion has become even more critical today. Old money parents are often extremely strict about social media, understanding that a single ill-advised post can damage a reputation built over a century. When a mistake happens, they don't engage in a public relations battle. They take the heat, repair the harm privately, accept the consequences, and then, crucially, they go quiet. By teaching manners, they're teaching a system of boundaries. They're teaching their children that true power doesn't need to announce itself. It is felt, not seen. In the world of dynastic wealth, there are two types of capital. Financial capital is your assets. Social capital is the value of your relationships, the trust you've built, and the people you can call on. Old money families understand a fundamental truth. In the long run, social capital is often more valuable than financial capital. Etiquette is the primary way they accumulate it. You can't buy a good reputation or genuine trust. These assets are earned, and the currency is consistent, respectful behavior. In other words, good manners. This is why old money children are trained to see every social interaction as a chance to make a deposit into their social bank account. The rituals of etiquette are the tools for this. A handwritten thank you note might seem quaint, but it's a powerful way to build social capital. It communicates effort and appreciation in a way a text can't. Remembering someone's name or a detail from a previous conversation signals that you were paying attention and that you care. Making people feel comfortable is perhaps the most important skill. It's about holding the door, ensuring a guest's drink is full, or introducing a newcomer into a conversation so they don't feel excluded. These small actions create an aura of generosity and respect that draws people in. People want to be around, work with, and help someone who consistently makes them feel at ease. Old money families are master networkers, but it's not the transactional business card swapping style of a corporate conference. It is a slow, patient process of building relationships over a lifetime, often across generations. Parents introduce their children to their networks from a young age. These networks provide invaluable access to information, opportunities, and a safety net during a crisis. An investment opportunity shared between old family friends over a weekend in the country can be worth more than years of work from a team of financial analysts. Being well-versed in history, literature, art, and current affairs is also part of this. It makes you an interesting conversationalist who can connect with people on a deeper level. Cultural fluency is a form of social currency. This strategy is built on the understanding that financial capital can be volatile. Fortunes can be lost in market crashes or bad business deals. But social capital, a strong reputation and a network of loyal allies, is far more durable. If a family faces financial ruin, it is their social capital that will allow them to rebuild. Someone will offer them a loan, a job, or a place to stay, not out of charity, but because of the trust and goodwill they have accumulated over decades. By prioritizing manners, they are making a long-term investment in their most stable asset. The final and most profound reason old money prioritizes manners is their understanding that a family is a multi-generational enterprise. Like any enduring institution, a dynastic family has a brand and a legacy to protect. The conduct of every member reflects on the whole. Impeccable manners are the first line of defense in protecting the family's name, their most invaluable asset. For these families, their last name isn't just an identifier, it is a symbol of generations of effort and success. A child born into such a family is taught that they are a temporary ambassador for this legacy. Their actions can either polish or tarnish a reputation built long before they were born. This instills a profound sense of duty. The mindset is one of stewardship. This is not yours to waste, it is yours to protect. Manners are the daily operating procedures for this brand management. Every polite interaction, act of discretion, and demonstration of respect reinforces the positive associations with the family name. Conversely, a single act of public arrogance or entitlement can inflict catastrophic damage. This concept of the family as a firm is sometimes even formalized through family mission statements or creeds that outline core values like honor, integrity, and service. The family's history is told and retold as series of case studies in success and failure, demonstrating the virtues that led to growth and the vices that led to decline. The choice of a spouse is seen as one of the most critical business decisions an heir will make. They are encouraged to marry partners who share their core values and understand the responsibilities that come with joining the family firm. A partner who doesn't understand the culture of discretion is seen as a significant risk to the entire enterprise. This focus on legacy also explains the emphasis on work. Children in old money families are expected to have a career regardless of wealth. Work provides meaning and structure. More importantly, it honors the legacy of the ancestors who created the wealth through their own effort. It ensures that heirs are producers, not just consumers, preserving the core family capital.
Ultimately, the entire system of old money parenting is designed to produce a responsible steward. By teaching manners first, they are shaping an individual who thinks in terms of we rather than me, who feels the weight of history on their shoulders, and who understands their primary duty is to pass the family name and fortune on to the next generation, stronger than they found it. The manners are the training wheels for this monumental task. It's the daily practice of the discipline, discretion, and respect that legacy demands. As we've seen, the old money axiom of manners before money is far from a superficial philosophy. It is a time-tested framework for building resilient, multi-generational wealth. It's a recognition that fortunes are not just financial, but social and reputational, and that the latter are the bedrock upon which the former is built. The 5 pillars reveal a cohesive logic. Manners, as social armor, equip heirs to navigate their high-stakes world. The discipline of etiquette creates a foundation for long-term thinking. The rules of discretion act as a shield for privacy and security. Graciousness builds social capital, a network that money can't buy. And all of these combine to protect the family brand and its legacy. What this philosophy ultimately teaches is that character is the most important asset of all. Financial literacy is a technical skill that can be taught at any time, but the core traits of discipline, humility, and integrity must be ingrained from the very beginning. While the world of dynastic wealth may seem distant, the underlying principles are universal. The idea that a strong character is the foundation for a successful life, that long-term thinking trumps short-term impulse, and that our reputation is a precious asset, these are lessons that can empower anyone. The enduring success of old money is a powerful reminder that the most valuable inheritance we can pass on is not money, but the values required to live a good life. If you found this analysis insightful, please consider subscribing and hitting the notification bell. We'd also love to hear your thoughts in the comments. What lessons from this philosophy resonate with you the most? Is there a principle you believe is crucial for building a successful life? Until next time, thank you for watching.